Hey guys, it's Adrian over BHA here, bringing you the second part of our InfluxDB Grafana Home Assistant series. So in the first part, we mainly covered InfluxDB and getting that installed in a Docker container, and also got that Home Assistant data pulled into Influx. So if you didn't catch that video, definitely go out and check out that one. For this one, we're going to start adding in our InfluxDB database into Grafana and start creating some cool graphs with our Home Assistant data. So let's check it out. This one should go pretty smoothly as well. It's fairly simple. We're going to be installing Grafana in a Docker container. There's certainly other ways to install it, so you can check out the links as I'll have them in the description below if you prefer to install it in a different format. So let's do a quick run through of everything we're going to cover in this video. So of course, for starters, we're going to install Grafana in a Docker container. Once that's installed and up and running, then we will log into Grafana and just check it out, kind of go through everything, show you what it looks like. The great thing about this is Grafana 7.0, which was recently released, so it'll be kind of cool to play around with that for a little bit. Once we've done that, we're going to add our InfluxDB Home Assistant database into Grafana. Lastly, we're just going to create some graphs using our Home Assistant data and show you what that looks like. So let's get started. Alright, again, for starters, we're going to install Grafana in a Docker container using docker-compose. This one is similar to how we install it InfluxDB as well. So for starters, we're going to edit our docker-compose.yaml file here. We're going to create a Docker volume for Grafana. So down here at the bottom, under our volume section, I'm going to create one called Grafana_data. Once we do that, then we are going to just carve out a little section here for Grafana. The name of this will be Grafana, and of course the container name is going to be Grafana as well. I'm going to set the restart to always. And then for the ports, we only need one port for this. The default for Grafana is 3000, so we'll do 3000:3000 here. And then under volumes, of course, we're going to use that newly set up Grafana_data volume that we just created. So here it will be Grafana_data, and we're going to point that to /var/lib/Grafana. And then for the image, again, it is just Grafana/Grafana, and that is it. And I'll have all this in the description below, so you can just copy and paste it. Once we have all that in there, we're going to go ahead and save it. And now we are ready to do a sudo docker-compose up-d. And of course, we'll give it a little bit to install. Kind of fast forward through that here. Alright, once that's installed, let's jump over to portainer and just take a look and make sure everything looks okay. As you can see here, everything looks pretty good. It's got our volume that we added to it as well. Let's check the logs. Looks like everything is working properly, so I think we are ready to move on to the next step. Alright, so again, as I said before, this is the latest version of Grafana, which is like 7.0. So we're going to go ahead and log into that. The default username and password for Grafana is just admin. And of course, when you first log in, it's going to ask you to change your password to something else. As you can see here, here's the kind of the new look for the new version of Grafana. It looks pretty cool. I like the blue colors and stuff that they've added to that. You get all your different menus and settings and stuff on the side here. Just kind of scroll through some of these. I mean, for just being out of the box, there's not a whole lot that we have to do as far as configuration goes. We should be able to dive straight into getting everything set up. So I just wanted to kind of show you what it looks like, and we're going to move on to that next step here and get our InfluxDB database added in into Grafana. Alright, so we'll go under settings here and click on data sources. And then of course you can select which type you want. We're going to be using InfluxDB, of course, because that's what we set up in the first part of this series. Alright, let's click select here. Now for the name, you can call it what you want. I'm going to call mine Home Assistant just because that's obviously where it's coming from. And if I decide to add any additional InfluxDB databases for anything else, I won't get them all confused. For the URL, it's going to be, let's see, http://10.10.10.28:8086. That's the port we use for InfluxDB. The rest of the settings can pretty much stay the same. We need to go down here under details and add in our database name. So ours that we did in the first part of this series was home_assistant. Once we have that listed there, we didn't create a username or password or anything like that, so we'll go ahead and hit save and test. As you can see here, everything shows to be working, so I think we are good to go and ready to move on to that last step. Alright, so we're ready for the last part of this video, which is just going to be adding some graphs into Grafana just to show you how that works, kind of give you a couple of examples here. Alright, so since this is a new copy of Grafana, we can just click on this create your first dashboard here, and we're going to go ahead and say add new panel. Alright, so let's dive right into it. So in the from section here it says select, and then we can choose measurement. For this first one I thought we would do download speed. So of course for the measurement for that will be megabits per second. You should be able to find it in the drop down list here. Alright, there it is. So let's hit the plus next to where, and we'll say entity ID. And as you can see, there's only two choices there from the sensors that it's pulled in from Home Assistant. So we're going to choose speed test _download. And at this point you can already see some dots showing up on the graph to kind of showcase what data it's already pulled in. So in the next area here where it says select, we're going to remove the mean. Then we're going to hit that plus. We'll say selectors and then select last. And then under the group by, we're going to change the spot where it says fill parentheses null. We're going to change that from null to none. And then boom, as you can see there, we already got a pretty decent looking graph there as far as my download speeds here at my house. Now I'm going to go ahead and give it an alias since it kind of comes up with a generic name. We're going to say download, and then I'll put in parentheses megabits per second. And then since I haven't given this graph a name yet, up here on the right side, I'm going to go ahead and change the panel title to be download speed. And that's it. We have created our first graph in Grafana. It's showing our download speed. Let's go ahead and create another one. Alright, so we'll hit that little plus up here at the top to add another panel. And for this one, I thought we will use outside temperature. So again, we're going to kind of do the same setup here. We're going to set our measurement to Fahrenheit, because that's the measurement of my temperature rating here. And again, for where, we'll say entity ID. And I'm going to choose my dark sky temperature sensor here. And again, we want to go down here, we're going to remove mean, and we're going to change that to be, let's see, selectors, and then choose last. And then we'll change the fill null to none. And there we go, now I have outside temperature showing up. We'll go ahead and change the panel title as well to be outside temperature. So now we have two graphs, one for download speed and one for outside temperature. And we actually forgot to give it an alias for our measurements. So let's go ahead and click on the top up here. We'll choose edit. Then we can go ahead and give it an alias. We'll say temperature, and then I'll put F for Fahrenheit in parentheses there. Alright, so now we got two graphs. And of course we can play around with the colors. We can change this one to red. We can change this one to blue. So just to kind of give you some ideas of what you can do with your Grafana setup. And I thought it'd be cool to go ahead and change our download speed graph. We're going to go ahead and add the upload speed to it as well. Just to show you that you can have more than one sensor data showing up on your graph. So we'll go back in here, we'll hit the add query down here at the bottom, and we're going to do the same thing again. We'll select the measurement again as megabits per second. And then this time our entity ID is going to be speedtest_upload. And we're going to follow the same type deal. We'll go ahead and remove the mean, and then we'll add a selector called last. And of course change the group by from fill null to none. Now we have data for both download and upload. We'll go ahead and upgrade the panel title here to be just internet speed. And then of course again you can click on these and change the colors if you want, but just to kind of give you an idea of how all this works, I mean, we have two graphs here, one that has two different sources of data. So pretty cool little setup here. And as you can see, it's not hard to do, and you can kind of get an idea of the things that you can do with it as far as the different types of graphs and everything that you can create. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope this was able to help you get set up with InfluxDB and Grafana and get it all working as far as pulling in your Home Assistant data into Grafana and being able to create some pretty cool graphs. Let's do a quick run through of everything we covered in this video. So again, for starters, we installed Grafana and Docker. Once we did that, we logged into Grafana and just kind of check it out a little bit, show you what that looks like. Once we did that, we went ahead and added our Home Assistant database in InfluxDB into Grafana. And lastly, we just added some graphs into Grafana just to kind of give you an idea and some examples of how that works. That's the end of the video, guys. Again, overall, it's a two-part series, but I thought it went pretty smoothly. Neither video is too long. This was a little bit longer than the first one, but I felt like we were able to cover everything for the most part pretty well. Again, I want to thank everybody for donating to my Buy Me a Coffee link. Again, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Teespring merchandise storefront with all the Burns Home Automation merch, definitely get out there and check that out. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments below. As always, if there are any videos out there that you would like to see that I don't already have out there, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll see if I can't get something put together for you guys. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around. Thanks.